Good morning, everybody. Those that are here and those that are online, welcome to our event. My name is L.Prista. I'm head of department at European Innovation Council and SMEs Agency, Executive Agents, and I will be the one moderating the session today. The objective of today is to see together how DIC stands for European Innovation Council, can support the cooperation between corporates, big corporates, and startups. So, before introducing the panel, and we have a very rich panel, let me give you just a bit of background of DIC. The European Innovation Council, the so-called EIC, is part of the Horizon Europe. It targets innovators, startups, small and medium enterprises, and researchers with bright ideas and with the ambition to grow and scale up international. Therefore, it supports high-risky and breakthrough innovations with the potential to create new markets and jobs in Europe. It was launched as a pilot already in 2018, and now in last year, March 2021, it really appeared at a full-fledged program. One of its schemes is the IC Accelerator, and this is the topic of today. The IC Accelerator provides blended finance to SMEs and startups in the form of grants, but also in the form of investments. By now, the IC Accelerator was very successful, and we supported already much more than 5,000 startups and innovative SMEs across Europe. Subjects that are covered are very wide, as you can imagine, and it goes without saying that topics like health, green, digital, transition are at the center of all of our proposals. However, DIC it goes a little more than just funding, and it also offers access to business acceleration service to the funded companies. For instance, the Business Acceleration Service organized some events to connect EIC-funded innovators with large corporates so that they can, in the future, collaborate, develop new business models, and discover new opportunities. It is a very successful activity because we know that up to now, 1/4 of the participation companies close follow-up deals already in the followed 6 months after those events. And this is the topic of today. Today, we are focused on this. We are focused on the cooperation between big corporates and startups. And so let's look at the importance and benefits of this cooperation. Also, we have to look at the possible drawbacks, challenge, and how to overcome them, and also to how the IC can better facilitate this project. For this, we have a very important panel, a rich and diverse panel, with a mix of big corporates and very promising startups that are financed already by the IC. So, before starting and presenting the panel, let's start with Anita Trashet. She's from Norway. She's a chairwoman of several executive boards, a board CEO of Innovation Norway, and a member of DIC Advisory Board. So she's really very familiar with our program. And so, Anita, I don't see you on the panel, but I'm sure that you are there. So
I'm here.
you are here, so good morning and welcome. Yes, I see you now. Good morning and welcome, Anita, to our event. And so, Anita, I would like to start to put you some questions because you are the one that knows a lot about our EIC program. So, as a member of the EIC Advisory Board, what is your view about the collaboration between large companies and startups? And for you, what are the key elements for a successful cooperation? Can you comment on this just in in 2-3 minutes? Okay.
2-3 minutes. Okay, let me go just to straight to your first question. I think this type of collaboration is a key competitive enabler for the future. And I see it's scaling and it's evolving across industries and across countries. And this is based on a threefold combination. It's industry expertise connected with deep tech research, like quantum technology, biotech, nanotech, low carbon tech, artificial intelligence, and then the know-how. it is the three-folded combination that makes this unique. And I think we really need this to modernize what I would say is an established kind of heavy European industry, and also to position Europe as a leader in the sixth wave of innovation. And I'll get back to what I mean around the sixth wave of innovation. And to your second question, what are the elements for success? I think they are concentrated around three things overall. I think one, you need to know how to play. You need to have a set of rules of engagement, both from the startup side and from the corporate side. Secondly, I think it's important in this kind of relationship to lead and not just to manage, because leadership produces change and movement. That's what we need here. While management produces order and consistency, we need that too, but we don't need it in the beginning. So we need to understand what kind of leadership we need to pull on. And thirdly, I'd say it's about understanding how to build trust and what breaks trust. So I think I'll leave it here.
Thank you very much, Anita. I know that you have a pool that you are going to launch a slide to make some questions and to involve the audience, because this is very important. So please, everybody that is here and people outside, please try to use the Slido. You know how to use Slido, and reply to those questions that Anita is putting on the screen.
Yes, and there will be 4 questions.
Yeah.
So what we're asking you, listeners, is based on your opinion, what is the main challenge for a corporation startup with big firms? Is it 1, learning the rules of the game and networking? Is it 2, finding shared values and objectives? Is it 3, building trust? Or is it 4, defining leading roles and sharing tasks?
So, Anita, I think that colleagues and the people outside are replying. We'll see the results at the end, right? So they will have some time to reflect on the issue, and we'll go on with our panel. And this time, next to Anita, I'm going to present Peter Lofgren. I don't see him in the screen, but he's coming. I know that he's there. He's from Sweden, close to us. Yes, hello, how are you, Peter? So you are the CEO of Synalab ABB, a very big company with more than 25 years of experience in innovation management and business development. I know that you are very keen about this subject. You are very enthusiastic. And that's why I'm going to ask you a question that, in your point of view as the CEO of a large company, what do you see that are the main benefits for startups and also for corporates? Because you represent a corporate, and so please look at 2 sides, but say what is the benefits for you as well.
Thanks, Louisa, and thank Anita for building such a good ground for the panel. And to be honest, I think the upside is so much higher in collaborating between corporates. And just to scratch the surface, the benefits for startups, of course, is to get access to a global market and benefit from the corporate's big respected brand. And from the corporation, it's about benefiting by becoming faster to the market, increase exploration, stay competitive, be relevant for the future, and many more. But I think most of all, it's important for society, because we become better in bringing new innovation to the market. That is a benefit for all of us. In the fastest way. So just sharing a little bit how we work in Synalab, which is ABB's global growth hub. We have practiced it with more than 160 collaborations between startups and ABB only, and another 50 with industrial partners. And that leads to partnership, it leads to common offering to the market, investments, and a lot of growth. And two of the companies became unicorns already. And really a big thank you for EIC to bringing your skin into the game, and your companies are really great to work with. So thanks a lot for that. And for us, it's just focusing on making it easy to collaborate. Anita touched upon this already, because we need to unleash this power. We are more efficient together. The upside is so much better by leveraging each other's strengths. So that is the benefit for all of us, including ABB and corporations. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Peter. It's very interesting to see the view from the corporates. And I think that now it's the moment to see also the view for the small companies. And that's why I want to ask the contribution of Eloisa de Castro. She's there, now I see her. And Eloisa de Castro is a young lady, and she's really very promising with the work that she's doing. It's fantastic. I have to say, first of all, congratulations for what you achieved up to now. She's the CEO of Enerpoly from IB, a deep tech startup with the ambition to bring some solutions to energy storage through environmental friendly batteries. And this is really very important for the future and also for our society and environment, as Peter was mentioning in his speech. So, Eloisa, first of all, as I told you, congratulations, because you did a very nice life, and I would like to see from you what is the view from a startup. I know that you have an history of cooperating with large companies, so you may refer to this. And I also would like to know if you suggest to startups what is really the benefit and where to start, because sometimes startups, they don't know, they are a little lost. So where to start with this cooperation? Eloisa, please.
Thank you so much for the question, Luisa. And yes, absolutely. So for context to the audience, we at Enerpoly are battery technology innovators, and we are pioneering a new zinc-based battery chemistry. So our products include battery cells and battery packs for energy storage. And we have had the pleasure of collaborating with larger, more established companies, both upstream and downstream in the value chain. So for example, one fruitful collaboration we've had is upstream with a material supplier who's doing research, R&D on materials that can improve our battery performance and its competitiveness. And this collaboration started last year. On the other hand, we also have another important collaboration that's downstream with a company that sources batteries for its products. And they've really contributed to our understanding of customer requirements from the technical, operational, and market perspectives. And they're the first company that will be piloting our product. So these collaborations are different in that they involve very diverse stakeholders at each company. But what they have in common is that the collaborations are mutually beneficial. And the persons involved in both sides, our company and their company, are all very excited about the positive impacts that cooperating can have to both of our companies. So for startups that are looking to collaborate with larger companies, I would suggest to start their journey to collaborating by being prepared for the opportunities when they arise. So have your elevator pitch and be ready to tell somebody that you meet, at a networking event, at one of the events held by the EIC, tell them who you are, what you can offer, what you're looking for. And listen also, this is very important, listen to what the other person's answers are to these questions. It's important to do this early because you never know when an opportunity is going to strike. So, in fact, we met many of our potential collaborators through connections and events that were not focused specifically on matchmaking between corporates and startups. Some of the introductions were organic, and they were through people that we met at investor events or events that We're focused on topics that are important to us, like clean energy and sustainable technologies. So, these contacts have afterwards been the ones to put us in touch with the right persons at the companies to get the collaboration started. That's the first place to start. And another very important tip to keep in mind is that you, as a startup, might be a David, but actually don't think of a large corporate as a Goliath, because they're not enemies. They're potential partners. And behind every single corporate initiative is a person with a specific goal that they want to achieve. So take the time to listen to the persons you meet so you can proactively find those ways to work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Luisa. So you are pointing out a very important point that, in fact, this is a collaboration at the same level, and this is a win-win situation. And at the end, what we want to have is to have value for the society. And thank you for this. I think that you have a lot to tell to the other startups and maybe to coach them, why not, in their journey in the future. Now, I have to introduce another person, another panelist. She's from Spain, and she's Victoria Hernandez. Victoria Hernandez has a very interesting profile because she knows a lot about our program. Again, because she had different positions on working with the IC. She's a member of the board of the directors of CaixaBank in Spain. And in fact, I think this is one of the persons that has more knowledge, strong knowledge and experience, because she has the experience around the different steps of the IC, already from the pilot up to now. So you, Victoria, welcome, good morning. You are you have a very nice and interesting profile. You have a multidisciplinary vision from the inside the IC and outside, because you play both. You have been also an EIC jury member. That is an extraordinary experience. You are an investor, a technology expert, and a member of the CaixaBank Payment Board of Directors. So you are really the person that have an holistic view of all this. And can you comment on what is the greatest value that TIC, as the IC, because you can give us also suggestions that we can provide, and how we can collaborate more in this process, and maybe what is the way forward to this?
Thank you very much, Luisa, and muito obrigado. And thank you very much, Anita, as well. Yes, in fact, I have a foot in all sides, in corporates, in big corporations, in startups, even tiny startups, and the EIC, cooperating with the EIC for since the very beginning of the pilot Horizon 2020, now Horizon Europe. This gave me a very good idea about what was the value of the EIC and how, in a way, we could connect dots in between the corporate world and the startup world with taking action, by the way, which is not just having sort of philosophical, let's say, view, but how you transform this philosophy, this vision, into concrete programs and action points. So I would say that the first thing that I realized working with the EIC was basically it's not just the scouting that is being made all across Europe and 10 associated countries about the best of breed of innovation, but is the selection, the strong selection. We know that when we meet one company selected, funded by the EIC, has a seal of quality. I mean, these are the top guns in innovation in Europe. And for a corporate, I mean, this is very important, because if you take the case of CaixaBank, our job is not selecting innovation. Our main core business is about providing, being in the financial world, and providing financial services. So we set up 1 year ago a corporate day, and we realized that that in 3 months' time, we selected 5 startup companies to proceed to a pilot, an internal pilot for internal needs, which is the startups who might be listening, that reaching just to understand who you have to talk to in a corporation might take 6 months for you. So we cooperated with the EIC. And since the first day until decision, which was taken at the highest level, by the way, because we had the commitment of the board and the CEO and his C-suite board, executive board. And it was taken the decision, and these 5 startups were up and running for our internal needs. This gave us another idea afterwards, this crazy idea that one day you wake up and say, oh, hold a second. We have this incredible pool of startups, innovation in one hand, but with limited resources for the scale up. And even more difficult if you want to go international. You are going abroad from your home market. And on the other hand, we have this financial group, one of the largest in Europe. It's a group of banks, and it's not just one. And with just in Spain more than 20 million customers. It's about 23 million customers. Consumers, medium, small enterprise, big enterprise. But hey, we have, for example, 500,000 farmers, and we know how difficult it is to push innovation in rural areas in this domain of industry, and how important it is for society and for Europe, for the strategic independence of Europe. To push the innovation in the rural and the agricultural sector. So we thought, hey, we have in one hand the best of breed of innovation, on the other hand, a market which is in need, and we have as well, a corporation with a large base of customers, market reach, and 3,000 sales agents specialized in this field, in the agricultural sector, knowing all these customers. So why don't we put all of this together? So we took action with the EIC, and we launched this beginning of this year, a pilot for innovation procurement, which is we will be experiencing new financing models to push the innovation into the agricultural sector and to help the selected startups in their scale-up. So we are going to sell for them, basically. So we started and hey guys, if there are startups there, you know how much it costs to hire one salesperson specialized. So having 3,000 with all this incredible volume of potential customers. I mean, this is a great opportunity to try to test your market traction, your pricing policy, and purchase intentions, because this is what this is about. From this experience, we will come back to the startups saying, hey, you have here, I don't know how many, maybe hundreds of purchase intentions. And this is what is a scale-up itself. And in addition to that, we will think about how we can finance all of that, because we do not have to forget that sales means as well that your customers need to have the budget, to purchase your services and your innovations. And the same thing as well, how we secure that a company which is maybe making a big jump in terms of sales, sales success can kill you as well. So how can financially be secured afterwards? So we thought this was a good combination. We closed the call thanks to the EIC. We did it. They made the call for us. And end of January, we got more than 100 applicants from 25 countries. Okay, so I think
but
it was
I have
quite a
to cut you because we have
Thank
very
you.
little
Sorry,
time.
I could talk
But
for
this
hours.
is very interesting. Really very interesting. I'm sure that everybody is enjoying what you are saying, and maybe afterwards we can create a group and make all the discussions, because this is really giving a lot of hints to the young startups. And your experience, your pilot experience, is really very interesting as well. But now we have to move subject, and we are going to talk about agri-food and tech companies. And for this, I have to invite to the floor Juan Medina. Juan is there, and he is the co-founder of Café Bueno. So you know already the name. We've already feel the flavor and the taste that coming to our event. So this is a company that was selected by the IC Accelerator. So you are one of our success stories, and also for the European Institute of Technology. So my question, you are young on this, your company is being very successful. It is in another field that we didn't discuss today. Tell me what the experience of TIC, what was the change in your life and in your business that it created? And welcome.
Well, yeah, thank you, Luisa. I mean, I think both EIT and EIC, they have definitely opened some doors that might have not have been open if it wasn't through them, or maybe just have took longer. I think following up a little bit on what Victoria said, EIC and EIT is like a good filter, I think, for the majority of these corporates. So they receive a lot of different interests and applications. And I think this is a good way for them to select, I think, or to make easier their selection for a potential partnership or collaboration, especially within our industry. The support of the IC right now is very critical for us because we are developing we're in an industry where regulation and quality is quite important. It might take some years to actually commercialize our solution because of regulatory aspects, especially within food and health. And the second aspect that has been very good, the support from the EIC, is that they were able to come in when it might be harder for other investors, for example, to finance the first coffee biorefinery in the world that we will do with the funds of the EIC. So this, let's say, this filling of the gap of the capex that early stage investors might be a bit more, let's say, a bit difficult to obtain. This is where the EIC has been really helpful, of course, from the financing point of view. And then, I mean, all the doors and everything that is open after this, after you get it, I think this is just a domino effect, to say it the way. At the end of the day, if your solution is really good and is really solving real problems at a competitive price, eventually, let's say, you find your way through the market, and ideally with a big brother that can help you reach that scale that you need to be even more competitive faster. So I think both EIC and EIT have been really good for us. We're in the middle of both. It's just the beginning. So we hope to continue reaping on the possible benefits that we will continue obtaining from this. And yeah, I just encourage a lot of the smaller companies in Europe that if you have a really good technology or idea, don't hesitate in applying, because it's really, really good platform.
Thank you, Juan. So I feel that you will become one of our ambassadors. Because you are very keen about us, the IC and the IT. And this is very good because it's important to disseminate and tell our success stories to all the others around Europe. This is really very important. So now that we had some discussion with our individual panelists, I would like to start a panel discussion with all of you, if possible. So, in fact, we are on time. This is incredible. And my first question, I don't know if it is possible to put the questions in the screen, but the first question, it's about not only the benefits, because we are talking about all the benefits, but I'm sure that there are blocking points as well and challenges, and we have to overcome them, because afterwards I would like to have some takeaways and some improvement to our scheme. So I would ask already Peter to comment on this. What are the blocking points, challenge, and how can we overcome them? If you can give us a suggestion. Peter, you are muted. Okay.
Sure, yes. I can start on a few, and let's start on the corporation side, because I think most of the obstacles are there, and it's typically to reduce friction. It's a lot of friction in a corporation. And here I would like to underline, you cannot become a professional by practicing once. So if you just try to collaborate with a startup, you will not be the best one after just one collaboration. So what you need to do is to build a toolbox and adapt processes so you can collaborate at scale in your company. And for corporates and incumbents, you know everything about economy of scale and the continuous improvement and whatever. That is what brings the magic also when you collaborate. So you need to practice. And by that, you will overcome these obstacles. That is the friction in the system. That is where my starting point. I leave the floor to anyone to build.
I could follow up on that because I think it's really important issues. And I think the EIC Corporate Day program has really picked up on that and really understood why they needed to have what we call SME or startup friendly principles. And there are 3 principles, and I think that's very good for the relationship. And the one thing is understanding the need for response time, and that time is critical for innovators. So I think that is a reason to why a curated partnership that EIC Corporate Day is delivering is key for understanding that time for a startup, 3 months, could be a whole life. While for a corporate, it's the time it takes to go from one division to another. Secondly, the other thing that's what I would say a startup or SME friendly principle is the designed ownership. That you have to have specific ownership for the EIC innovator. It has to be also anchored at the very top level at corporate. You cannot get the attention you need at 4th or 5th level. It has to be wanted, anchored, and put in a strategy from the very top, from the board, from the ownership. They have to understand this. Otherwise, the obstacles is really going to hit you. And the third, I would say, startup SME friendly principle is the transparency and feedback. That the go, no-go decision, it should be clearly communicated to the EIC innovator, to the startup. Is it a go? Is it not a go? And also, this works both sides. So, there are a lot of startups who are also afraid that some of the corporation would steal their technology, would steal their people, hire their people. So that's why you need to have a set of rules of engagement and some procedures, because this is moving fast. If something happens, this is how we're going to fix it. Just a comment to that.
Thank you, Anita. I don't know if someone else wants to comment this topic. Maybe Luisa, because she represents.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I absolutely agree with what Anita just communicated about the fact that this collaboration must be something that is accepted and that the top is enthusiastic about. Because one of the most common and difficult challenges of working with a larger corporation, a very large organization, is that the group that most immediately sees the benefit of working with you is not always the group that makes the decision on whether to move forward with the work together. And I mean, we have in the past had that challenge where a potential corporate partner, really found it interesting at the R&D level. The R&D department was incredibly eager to work with us, but the project that we proposed was a much lower priority on the level of the strategy team than other things that their corporate budget could go to that year. So, this is a challenge that's difficult to navigate, but whenever possible, what you can do to, advocate for yourself is be present. So startups should try to be in the room to answer questions. You know that nobody else is going to be as knowledgeable about your innovation and its benefits. And even though the R&D team might be very enthusiastic, they might not be able to answer all of the questions about your technology that will help to help the strategy team understand what it can really do for the large corporate. I absolutely agree that it's a challenge, but there are a few things that you can do about it.
Thank you very much. Maybe now I can put another question, and it will be to Juan and Vittoria. If you can give us some tips how to get the most of a win-win situation. In your view, just a tip. If you have to talk to your colleagues or your peers, what is the tip?
Well, I mean, you have to have very clear what you want. And I think for a startup, it's usually scale up. I mean, that is what is a bit of the challenge in the early days, always going from 0 to 1, then 1 to 10. It's another journey that might be sometimes easier or not. But I think this is the critical aspect that a corporate can provide the smaller startup. So I would say, one, from the startup point of view, be very clear on your objectives and expectations from day one, so that the corporate or bigger one should have that already in his mind and might be already tell you yes or no, it's a no-go, and you don't lose your time and he doesn't lose his time. So it's about having, as Anita said, like kind of a very clear the rules, but also the possible objectives of the project from early on. And I think, at least from my experience and also what I've seen from the corporate side, the majority of the corporates, let's say, that we have had some smoother collaborations has been the ones that have a person specially employed, or let's say in charge of actually like being that ambassador or hero, that connection that between the corporate and the startup. If not, it's just a bureaucratic mess, I think. And so having that link from the corporate side, I think that is very, very important for a successful collaboration.
Thank you very much, Juan. Vittoria, do you agree with this, that you have to be clear that this is what you are waiting for the SMEs, that they are clear and you don't want them to lose time and give good feedback immediately? You have 1 minute to say if you agree or not.
Yeah. I will make it short, but I will give an advice as well for the startups, is that talk in business objectives. Many times you get... you are so concentrated in the development of your innovation, your platform, that you have to understand, for business people and to a CEO, you have to go and explain to him or her what is going to be the impact in their business objectives. Okay, not how your innovation works. It doesn't care if the cable is yellow or green. So how much is going to impact in their P&L or their results account, in their business objectives for the year. So this will be one thing that I have been observing, and I would like to give as an advice for the startups. And from the corporate point of view, we need to have a specific channel, a sort of innovation channel. Of course, define it, the innovation strategy with values, very specific values, but as well well a sort of platform which guides inside big corporation and all their corridors and thousands of people who the startup has to talk to and check for them. Okay, this is what in CaixaBank we started innovation channel to provide and facilitate for the startups. So immediately they can know if it's a yes or not, and they do not waste time. And if it's a maybe, then you have to talk to this, and these people and help them in this journey.
So very good tip and very good advice for the SMEs and startups to follow. I hope that they are listening to this. This is a very good advice. So now it's time, if Anita is ready, and I'm sure she is ready, to comment on the results of our poll. Anita, can you comment? I think that the results are quite clear. Anita, please.
Yeah. I can't see the results yet.
You cannot see them.
I cannot see them.
So building trust. So you see them now. Okay.
Yeah, so absolutely, I am not surprised that building trust is one of the hardest thing. And the good news here is that there's actually an equation of understanding how to build trust. And I encourage all of you to look at this equation. I think it was launched 20 years ago by a man called Charles Green from a book called Trusted Advisor. And the trust equation, it really says that an individual or a company's trustworthiness is equal to their credibility, reliability, and intimacy. And intimacy, it doesn't mean physical intimacy. Intimacy means when things are hard, you actually pick up the phone or you sit together at the table and you discuss the difficult things. Usually when things are in a relationship not very good in a corporate or startup, what we do is that we draw back, we withdraw, we start sending professional emails. That's not the way to do it. You pick up the phone, you sit down, and you talk out of what could be a potential conflict. And all of these are the three elements, the three in the denominator in this equation. And below that is the one that we should have as small as possible, which is self-orientation. Usually we understand our case based on our view. Well, we understand it like this, or we come from this world, so you have to understand this. The less focus you have on self-orientation and understanding what's the big picture and what's the common goal, it's easier. So increasing the value of the factors in the numerator increases the value of trust. And if you increase the value of the denominator, which is self-orientation, it decreases the value of trust. So there is an equation for all of those who thinks that trust is a word that we don't really understand. We don't know how to build it. Well, there's also research and understanding on how to build trust. So I would recommend that you look at this equation, and then you can also understand when there's a relationship that has gone bad. Where did it miss? What can I learn from this? And very often it was because you were too self-oriented, or it was because you were withdrawing at the time where you were actually supposed to go front to front and discuss it.
So thank you very much, Anita. We are just arriving to the end of our session. I think that the main conclusion is this type of collaboration is essential. Some of you even said that is the enabler to accelerate this innovation process, to make it more successful, and even to multiply the hidden opportunities. Of course, there are clear benefits for small and medium enterprise, like obtain resources, sales, connections, business opportunities, and customers. and for the corporates to identify new technology, emerging technology, and also the access to the other ecosystems like the EIT was considered very important. However, we noticed that this process needs to be framed, and we have to have a certain amount of rules of procedures. We have to look at these principles very clear in order to have a complete, trustful collaboration. And I think that on this field, Anita really made the point, and let's base this collaboration in trust. For our side, I promise that we are going to take these recommendations into account. And now, thank you very much, all of you, all the panelists, everybody that is at home. And I have to wish you the end of this Industrial Days very successful, and have a nice day. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you.